which I may, but okay, it is 8:30. So happy Friday. Welcome to our meeting. I'm excited to share a little more with you today, but let's start by having the culture piece, and Tara has already said that she would do that. So let me share my screen. She had lost her voice last week and she's got it back, and this is good practice. So
Right.
there you go, Tara.
Okay, great. Hard work. People that pull beyond their own weight, who give more than they receive. We believe in being self-reliant, exceeding our duty. We are dependable.
Good. Thank you. So what do you think when we talk about this culture item? Because there's always, interesting comments. What do you think about the words hard work? What does that what does that mean to you? How does that mean, what does it conjure up in your mind when we talk about hard work?
I think it's striving for results.
Mhm.
Whether that's a lot of thinking and putting things together, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're exerting a lot of force with your body.
Mhm.
Whereas I think a lot of times people think of hard work as a lot of exertion.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I feel like it's when you're giving of yourself, when you're using all of your resources and you're putting your best self first, giving your all.
Yeah, I like that. It's kind of like we've talked about many times, of course, using our strengths and our talents.
Mhm.
Because when you think about hard work, a lot of times you think, oh gosh, I got to go out and do cement work, or dig holes or trenches, or those sorts of things, and those are valuable things, and we need those types of individuals who can do that work and do it well. But I don't necessarily think that that's what we're striving for. Is to that nice picture, Shane, is to is to be able to I just like the fact that we're exerting ourselves using our talents and our strengths. I think that's the cool part. So that's good. Well, thank you. And I don't know if I can go the rest of the meeting looking at the
I
back.
am so confused. Is there like a bromance going on between the two of you?
Doesn't Joe look good with his AI images?
Yes, he does. Yes,
sorry,
he does.
I'll change it.
I knew that would come back to bite when I sent you that. So
you look great, buddy. You look great.
Be careful what you send Shane. You might regret it. So, and if you guys can, just a reminder, unless you've got some things going in the background, we'd love to have your faces on the screen. We want to make sure that we, are all engaged in this. So let's talk. Yeah, Joe.
well, I just wanted to say hard work is interesting. I really love Tara's comment on that. Each and every one of us have been hired for different reasons, different skill sets, different positions, different almost everything. And here's what's really cool is we all have different skill sets, different strengths, right? And different positions and areas of focus. And I think that the best thing we can continue to think of is hard work is going to look slightly different to everybody, right? But what it doesn't change is kind of what Tara was saying, that just showing up and doing what it is that you need to do. I heard this not too far away. What is it? 65% of success is showing up, and the other 45% is working hard. I would say, right? So
yeah, that's good. I think that's really a major part of that. Commitment. So I think that's good. I think when we read that statement, sometimes people get confused, oh gosh, what does hard work mean? And sometimes it's a negative thing, and it's not a negative thing. It's using our talents and our strengths and doing the things that we love doing as part of our work. And then there's the things that we may not like, but we still are doing and we're committing and that sort of thing. So I want to start off today, and unless Ted, magically shows up, he's excused today. He had something going on, but so as we talk about what we've been going through, I want to do a quick review. Tell me a little bit about what we've talked about so far in the last 5 weeks. Anybody think about what we've been talking about?
Hard work.
Okay, that was your most recent. Thank you.
Well, he's not wrong, guys.
No, he's not.
One of my favorites was the Creativity Inc. That we went through. I know that's not core topic, but really loved Creativity Inc. and and the thought processes and how you create flow, how you create yourself into a place where you can where you can work with your entire team to get the best out of each one.
Okay, good. Who else remembers what we've talked about?
I was just telling a friend the other day how I've never thought so much about thinking in my entire life. Like the last few weeks have been so focused on your mindset and how you approach things. It's really kind of changed my outlook on that.
Yeah, good. Very good. Shane?
Becoming a lifelong learner.
Yeah. That was our first one. Techie, was that what you were going to say?
Yeah, Shane and I were thinking the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Learner,
Yeah.
learn.
So why are and we're gonna, Ashley Labrum, we're gonna talk more about thinking today. So that's good that you brought that up. But why are we talking about this? Why is it that thinking in a leadership training is so important?
I prefer Shane to do my thinking for me.
Okay.
Shane?
I'd have to say that, your brain is a muscle and you got to work it out just like any other muscle that you have. And I noticed that if I just wake up in the morning, in the last couple of days, I have felt like I have been in a fog, and I didn't feel 100%. I just didn't feel not like, showing up and doing what I need to do. I just didn't feel like I was there. And today, first thing this morning, I got up, took my boy to school, rode my bike, and it just felt different today. And I was thinking more last night and thinking more this morning. So that's
yeah, that's good. Good. Joe, did you have something you wanted to?
No, I just was making a fun comment, but
Okay.
But Shantae has something that she wants to add.
Yep. Good. Shantae.
I was just going to say that I think as leaders, it's important for us to be able to inspire the people that we're leading. So how can we inspire them if we ourselves aren't practicing these things and, figuring out how to be creative and innovative and lifelong learners,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so important. And that's a great point, because, we really are talking with our teams, and we want to help them. And, if we don't do it ourselves, then we can't expect other people to do it either. So, Tara?
I think it's important as leaders to think about what you see in your teammates or what you see in the people that you're leading, and constantly thinking of not only creative ways of enhancing their self-esteem, giving them more of a positive outlook on their contributions, and just making them better. So for me, thinking out the process, not only for myself, but most importantly, how I can enhance the team's ideas or give them the push they need to move forward and the motivation they need. So I'm always thinking of creative ways on how to inspire them to aspire to greater heights.
Yeah. And you guys, it's hard sometimes to, because we get so into the weeds, right?
Mhm.
We're in the weeds. We're in the business. We're working in the business. And you'll hear Ted talk about this a lot. What are we doing to work on the business? And this is where the thinking thing kind of comes to play, because we have, responsibilities to work in the business, but we also, as leaders, have responsibilities to work on the business. Joe?
Yes, agreed to all of those things. And one interesting thing is and Arturo and I were talking about this just yesterday. We actually went to see Tony Robbins at Silicon Slopes, and it was phenomenal. But it was quite interesting how intention and thought and energy all kind of were part of it. And when we were talking to Arturo, he's like, I have to be that guy when I get to the office that I'm bringing the energy. Because if I'm not bringing the energy, right, and someone else needs to, and some days we are going to have those. But he's like, it takes very purposeful intention and thought to be that person to bring the energy. It takes being very specific. And it was amazing that he gave us some tools on how to use your posture, your breathing, your thinking in order to generate more energy, which I just thought was really brilliant. But
Yeah.
anyway, back to you, Carrie.
Yeah. So thank you. That's good. And I want you to think about this. I'm going to tell just a quick story, and then we'll get into these other thinking pieces. A number of years ago, it's been a while. I was the VP of Sales and Business Development at SOS Staffing, and I was approached by one of the regional vice presidents out of Colorado, and he said, "Look, I have a few more years left with the company. I'm going to be retiring. We're at this point, we're doing about $30 million a year as a region, and I want your help to get to 100 million in 3 years." And I said, okay, let's do it. And so we spent, as my job and as his job as the regional vice president, and we had, RAD managers, regional area district managers. Our job was to work on that business. And I want you to know that, that region was not in the first place of the 5 regions we had, but in 3 years we hit 100 million, and it became the #1 region. And that gentleman then became the senior vice president of the company, and amazing things happen. But the point behind this was, as we spent a lot of time working on the business, we had to do the thinking pieces. And part of my job, and it wasn't just me, obviously, who made this happen. I just took the sales side of it, but we really worked hard on, what is it we need to do, and we had to have thinkers. We had to have people working on the business and people working in the business to make all of that happen. And it was amazing to watch that happen, and to reach that goal in 3 years. To go from 30 million to 100 million, that's $60 million increase in 3 years. That's really a good amount of money. And that was just one region. So we had other regions that we developed too. So I want you to think about this. I sent a sheet to you this morning. I didn't send it early on purpose. Oh, well, there you go. Joe, did you just throw that up there, Joe?
Yes, sir. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, that's good. So I appreciate that. I was just getting ready to push the button. So as we look at these, again, I didn't want you to see them much before, we talk about it. I want to spend the next few minutes, and then we're going to spend the last half talking about a few other things. So this program I designed years ago for SOS. It's called Think It, Plan It, Do It Now. Okay. So this is the thinking part. This is a full half-day program starting at 8 until noon. You're getting the quick version of it, of course, in 60 minutes. But I want you to get your pen and paper out. This is work in the class, and we're going to talk through these and answer the questions. These are the 11 thinking skills, and one of them we've focused on for a couple of weeks, and that's been creative thinking. But I want you to start answering questions. So skill number 1, acquire the wisdom of big picture thinking, which is exactly what I was talking about with my story. How can I think beyond myself and my world and process ideas with a holistic perspective? So just think about that. Write your answer, okay? I want you to think about these as we go through them for yourself. Not necessarily going to go through and ask everybody to give their pieces. We may talk a little bit, but number 1 is big picture thinking. We had to think big. We thought we were thinking 30 million to 100 million in 3 years. How do we do that? That was big picture thinking. Okay? So how can you think beyond yourself and your world, which is the getting in the weeds and the process ideas with a holistic perspective, okay? Or a big picture. Skill number 2 is unleash the potential of focused thinking. Focused thinking. What would focused thinking be? Any thoughts on that?
Removing distractions. And I'm not just reading that, right? But it's figuring out it's identifying what distracts you.
Yeah.
Right? First, you have to figure out what your distraction is. Is it your phone? Is it emails? Is it kids? I mean, what is it? And you have to remove those distractions, not necessarily remove children, but remove them to a different area and figure out how you can remain focused.
Yeah. So the question here is, how can I remove distractions and mental clutter so that I can concentrate with clarity on the real issue? Very, very good question. Yes, Maddie.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this one last night. I mean, I didn't read this last night, but now I'm connecting it.
Yeah.
So we're training Haley on my team, and so she's taken a lot of my recruiting roles. So I had 5 hours yesterday afternoon just to work purely on projects that me and Bree have had on the back burner for a really long time. And it was crazy to me that I was like, I've been so stuck in the weeds of recruiting and fulfillment and working with hiring managers that I got so much done in 5 hours yesterday that we've been like putting it off for so long. So just removing those distractions was great.
Yeah, because you were focused. Is that what you're saying? Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great example. And that's what we really need to, to focus on with this. We've got to really, we can time block, we can do all sorts of things, but we've got to remove those distractions when we're doing, focused thinking. So number 3, we've covered a lot of number 3. I'm not going to really even, you can answer the question, how can I break out of my box of limitations and explore ideas and options that will enable me to experience a breakthrough? If you want breakthroughs, you've got to be able to stop limiting your thinking. Okay. You just cannot limit yourself. So, and I've said this before, let me just, say it again. There's a saying, that the sky's the limit. And I don't believe the sky's the limit. What I believe is your mind is the limit, and you limit yourself. And so quit doing that and allow yourself to freely think. Skill number 4 is recognize the importance of realistic. So answer this question: how can I build a solid foundation on facts to empower me to think with certainty? Okay. So we have creative thinking and we have realistic thinking. We have facts, and it becomes, a solid foundation on the facts to allow you to think with certainty. All right, skill number 4. Joe, will you scroll up just a little bit for me? Thank you. So skill number 5, release the power of strategic thinking. How can I implement plans that give me directions for today and increase my potential for tomorrow? So how can I implement plans? And we're going to talk about plans here in just a minute, but how can I implement plans that give me directions for today and increase my potential for tomorrow? That's strategic thinking. We talk about strategic thinking all the time. We talk about tactical stuff as well. So there's strategies and there's tactics. Skill number 6 is feel the energy of possibility thinking. I love that. Those two words, possibility thinking. Again, opening up. How can I unleash my enthusiasm and hope to find solutions even for situations that seem impossible? Have you ever had something that seems impossible and you were able to overcome that? I think probably most people have. And this is an opportunity. So how do I unleash my enthusiasm and hope? So, if you've given up hope, you're in trouble. So make sure that we don't do that. And you've got to have that enthusiasm as well. Skill number 7, embrace the lessons of reflective thinking. So how can I revisit the past in order to gain a true perspective and think with understanding? We can look at our past. It's been interesting the last few years. We've had some amazing world things happen that have changed people, changed companies, taken companies out. Some companies have grown because of it. But we need to be able to revisit the past so we can gain perspective. And we can't focus on the past all the time, but we can gain perspective. And then we can think with understanding. We talk about what we did last year this time. We talk about what we're doing now, and it gives us perspective. Every month we have a discussion as a company, and it gives us some perspective. And I think that's really, really good. Okay, so again, keep writing these answers. These are for you. Skill number 8 is question the acceptance of popular thinking. So how can I reject the limitations of common thinking and achieve uncommon results? So when we talk about popular thinking, what is it saying here? Any thoughts? Popular thinking.
I think it means kind of just to not do things by status quo, not do things just because that's the way that they are or that's the way they're supposed to be done.
Everybody's doing it. Shane, what were you going to say?
Yeah, same thing. It's that statement. Well, that's how we've always done it.
Yeah. Or everybody's doing it. We should do it too. Okay. So, we need to, again, reject the limitations, because when we use that, again, it's limiting. Well, everybody's doing it, or that's how we've always done it. So that's immediately, going into to being a limitation. And yes, Joe, it is out of the box thinking. Out of the box thinking. Skill number 9, encourage the participation of shared thinking. How does including the heads of others help me think over my head and attain compounding results? How can we use shared thinking without doing groupthink? Okay. How do we do that? How do we not do groupthink, but we can do shared thinking to be able to help you think better? What do you think about that? Is groupthink good? Kyle, what's groupthink?
It's the tendency to, sorry about the dog.
We can hear you. Oh,
Give me a second.
I can jump in since I'm off mute.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of this all the time. Hey guys, I got this really amazing idea, and I tell everyone exactly what it is, and then I'm like, hey John, what do you think about this? And it's like, well, you're my leader. And so it's like, I have a choice now. Do I challenge or jump on the bandwagon? Right. And so as a leader, it's really difficult not to create groupthink and instead saying, hey, here's the challenges we're facing. I have a few ideas, but before I just kind of say all of my ideas, let's get everyone's ideas on this challenge and then come in with some ideas at the end, because otherwise you might be tainting the creativity pool.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Kyle?
Also, one of the phenomenons of groupthink is extremism too. So while you're in that echo chamber of similar thought, we could say, it does have a tendency to go extreme as well. You see it in Congress, you see it in you see it all over the place, really. You see it on news stations and whatnot. But so it is not only harmful for limiting individual thought, it also is harmful because it can lead to thought that's not even real within the group and extreme thinking.
Yeah. And sometimes it's, people will they'll just not do anything. They won't do any thinking at all because they're in a group and they're doing group thinking, and they let somebody else lead the whole thing in a way, you just raise your hand and agree every time, yeah, sure. So we got to be careful with that. But shared thinking, being able to include the heads of others to help you think, and get off of that limitation. So skill number 10, experience the satisfaction of unselfish thinking. So question is how can I consider others and their journey and collaborate with them in my thinking? So I think that's great. I think it's a great way to reach out to people and talk about the things that they're doing, talk about what their journey is, and think about your team members, think about your peers, the people here on this group. How could you get together? And I know many of you have done so. Look, it's great. You're collaborating, and you talk about the different journeys. We all have these different journeys. And the final one, skill number 11, is enjoy the return of bottom line thinking. Okay. So how can I focus on results and maximum return to reap the full potential of my thinking? Are we a results driven company? Yeah, we are. We're a results driven company. We have to have results. And why do we want results? Why do we want to do what we're doing? What's the purpose? Everyone should know this one.
So we all have a job for one.
Okay. Any other thoughts? What's our purpose for having this economic engine?
To give back.
Align with customers, innovate. Well, that's got them. I know Techie's got them all. Come on, Techie.
Allow customers innovate. Oh no. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Allow customers innovate. Build back. Build people. Give back. And then I have one more.
So the main focus that I like to talk about on that situation, on those 5, the reason we do this is to build people.
Mm-hmm.
We have an economic engine, and this is what Ted's, vision is that we build a place and build people that they can learn here more than they can anywhere else that they go. That's why we do this, because we want to help people's personal progression, right? So that's why we do this. That's why we focus on results. The reason we focus on results is to help all of us with our personal progression. That's what it's about. So, yeah, thank you. Disrupt labor services was the last one. Keep learning those 5. That's our mission. So, okay, Joe, you can unshare that. Thank you for doing that. So I wanted to take us to the top of the hour with all of these different pieces. You guys have that sheet. I will post it eventually here into the group part of our teams, and make sure that we have it available. But I just think it's important. These are many different ways of thinking. And again, if you really want to understand, and I've shown this book a few times, but whoops, there we go. Thinking for a change. Again, has two meanings. In other words, it's about time you start thinking. And the other meaning is, if we want to change, we got to use thinking to make that happen. And these 11 pieces are very well described in this book. So if you want to learn about each of these 11 skills of thinking, take a gander at the book, whether it's audio or actual physical book. So it's been a great book for me. I've had it for a lot of years. In fact, it's even the bindings torn and everything. So, but this is really important for us to think. And I said this before, as leaders, we've got to be the ones to step into this role. You've got to take time away from the busyness to do that. Now, we did talk about something else in the first few lessons as well. We talked about creative thinking. We talked about being a lifelong learner. There was one other thing we spent a full class on. Do you remember what it was? How about finding your thinking place? Okay, finding your thinking place. How many of you found your thinking place? How many of you have a place now that you can escape and go think and get away from kids, pets, the office, work, all of that, and you have a place you can go think? If you haven't done that, you need to do it. It's really important. So, okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about planning this stuff. So we've had the opportunity to think, and let's talk about planning. And I'm going to ask you some more questions, and it's going to be based around setting goals. We've talked about setting goals in our last management thing, but I'm going to ask you questions about those. Okay, so get a piece of paper and a pen or your computer, and you're going to think, you're going to work through some of this stuff. And then I want you to be able to share and start working with your manager, your leader, and start talking about ways we're going to implement. That becomes the do it. So let's talk about plan it first. Okay. I'm going to give you some think it questions. I want you to write your answers down. If you could wave a magic wand and have whatever you wished for in any part of your life, what would it be? If you could wave a magic wand and have whatever you wished for in any part of your life, what would it be? Okay. And remember, don't limit yourself. Business and career. What would that look like for you? What is your future business and career look like to you? This is for you. I'm not gonna pull you aside or on the call here and have you tell everybody, what does your career look like? What do you want it to be like? What would you be doing in your work? What would you be doing? I love this question. I've done it myself. Many of these things have come true. I love it. If you could design your perfect lifestyle day in and day out, what would it look like? Your perfect lifestyle. What would it look like? Day in and day out. Where would you be doing your best work? What company? What state? What city? What location? Where would you be doing this if you could choose? There's a good question for you. If your work life was perfect, who would you be spending it with? And maybe you're already doing that. Maybe you're spending it with the exact people that you would like. Here's another question for you. What level of responsibility would you have? What level of responsibility would you have in your perfect work world? Okay. Just think about those. Write the answer. What kinds of skills and abilities would you have? Are there some things you would like to learn? Things you'd like to be better at? So these are skills and abilities. These are not your talents or strength. These are your skills and abilities that you would like to develop. What level of status or position would you have in your field? Like Kyle. Kyle had a goal of being an SPHR, and Kyle's an SPHR. So if you want to know what that is and what that takes, you can ask Kyle. But that's the level he was shooting for, not just a PHR, but an SPHR. Okay. So I want you to think a little bit now about your specific responsibility and your position that you have. We just are on the cusp of rolling into the fourth quarter. You all know that, right? October starts the fourth quarter. What does the fourth quarter look like for you and your responsibility? What goals do you want to achieve in this fourth quarter for you and for your team? If you don't have a team, it's your responsibilities, your specific things. I want you to write down a few of those ideas. Where would you be? How much, if you're on the sales side, how much revenue would you like to drive? If you're on the recruiting side, how many people do you want to place in the next 3 months with your team? Because that drives revenue, just like sales drives revenue. It takes both sides. What's your plans to change anything? Do you have any changes that you would like to make in the next 3 months? What would that look like for you, for your team? Okay, are you getting some good thoughts? You got some good stuff you're writing down? So let's talk a little bit about some of your goals. Some of you are the leaders of some of you who are on this call. You're part of a group that's already formed. Some of you are reporting to people on this call. But let's talk about some of your goals for the next 3 months, and then maybe some goals for the next year. Okay. Who's got something that they would like to share? Yep. If you could have anything in your life, what would it be? Then I can't read the rest of it. Joe, you'll have to tell us.
I just took notes of each one of your points.
Okay.
And questions.
Okay.
To keep it in everyone's top of mind.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So what would be one goal? Let's just throw some ideas out here. This is sharing ideas. This is open discussion. Maybe something, again, as we talk, it'll it'll trigger something in your mind or your thoughts of where you can be. I'm going to pick on a few of you. It's not really picking on you. I think it's really important, but I'm going to start with Mariah because I think she's got this uh, creative mind and she's got stuff that she's working on, and I can tell by her smiling face that she's got some good stuff that she wants to share.
Yeah, I want to see my team have October be our like highest revenue month of the year thus far. It usually is, and I'd like us to live up to that goal this year again. So I want to see that happen.
What is that? And let's just dig a little bit. You may not have all the stuff written down, but what does that mean? What is the highest revenue year? What does that mean?
I mean, obviously, like October's a 5-week month. So I'd like to see everybody hit like their metrics consistently throughout the month. I've also been working a lot with my team on like inputting stuff into the system and making sure that all their numbers are getting put into the system and are like trackable and stuff like that. So we can kind of read their data. So I'd like to kind of see by the end of October. I mean, obviously, I want to see like the big revenue number, but I'd also like to be able to backtrack and see like all their contacts and placements and interviews and all that stuff put into the system too, because we've really been working on that in last quarter. So I'd like to kind of reap the results of that this quarter and fine tune it.
Yeah. So I think that's good. And as you're doing that, as specific as you can get, obviously, the better for your team, so that you can have specific things, which you are. You're telling us that. So if you want that to happen, obviously you've got to be very specific, and here's what we need to do, and maybe go beyond the mark so that we, can really hit those numbers. So yeah, that's good. Thanks, Mariah.
Yeah.
That's really good. Who else would like to share a little bit about, some goals they've got for this fourth quarter? Because we can turn this still into a great year. Not the where we want to be, because next year's going to be even better, but I think we can do some great things. Maria, sorry.
So my goal would be different because I don't do sales, I don't do recruiting.
Right.
But this last quarter, my goal is to like get everything ready for tax season and throw it in the ballpark without any issues or problems like we did last year. So that's my goal for fourth quarter.
Awesome. And so what are some of the things you're going to do to achieve that?
I'm working really hard on making sure the audits are completed, that all the information that's needed in TempWorks to get W-2s and W-9 sent out. I'm making sure that I go in and do the TempWorks audit prior to end of year. So a lot of it is just making sure the offices are doing their part so we can do our part.
Yeah, perfect. I love that. Tara.
In Georgia, fourth quarter, my main goal is to create more visibility, push the rebranding. It's a new beginning for us, and work very hard and closely with sales and the internal team and on-site, building better relationships with the client. It's just trying to create a breath of fresh air. It's a new beginning. It's a new start. So I want fourth quarter to be a major kickoff for us, not just with new location, but also our mindset, how we're seeing things, how we're bonding with one another, how we are supporting one another, where one person is weak, the other one is strong, and we are coming together as one unit.
And that's great. I love that. How do you see yourself bringing that group together to make that happen? What are some things you're thinking, like, okay, if I can do this, we can come together and we can have this new start? What would be some of those things? How do you bring them together?
I believe leaders lead by example, but I also believe people work for people and not companies. So I figure if I demonstrate my commitment, guide and lead those that are there on the team, then I'm able to better guide them into a direction of positivity, motivate them to want to strive for what's best by first demonstrating. So that's what I plan to do. And with the clients, not over promising, but I have a goal of exceeding their expectation, but first demonstrating to them that we can at least meet their expectations. So I
Yeah.
guess just leading by example, showing them, providing the proof.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. Just again, as we think about the things we've learned in our past discussions, one of those things could be to really focus in, understand what their strengths and their talents are, using
Mhm.
those strength finder information, digging into your people's um, abilities, and then really honing in so that they have an opportunity to do something they love every day. We need to
Mhm.
give our people the opportunity to do what they love every day. It's not going to be all day, but it's going to
Mhm.
be every day. And so if you are digging into those, I think Tara would be great too if you remember what the Q12 questions are,
Yeah.
going in and making sure that you're asking those questions with your team during that. And one of those questions is do I get to use my things that I love doing every day. And I think that will be
Right.
a big help for you too. So, and that's for everybody. This isn't just, I mean, Mariah was doing the same thing. So Mariah, I would do the same thing with your team and talking to them, and using the strengths stuff to be able to say, yes, these are your strengths. These are your red threads, which you have to know what those mean. But how do we help you do what you love every day and do our jobs? So
Mhm.
perfect. Yeah, perfect. I love that. Um, anybody else want to share anything with their fourth quarter goal?
Yes. To me, I would like to see myself and my team working and getting like growing personally, spiritually, mentally, professionally, and everything as a team. Because of course that way it creates strong bonds and they would always want to come back, right? Because it's a new team, right? We're all knowing each other. Carla's new. Well, I have been working with Juan for a while. Jason is new working to Carla, and then seeing that synergy. And then, of course, after all of these things are figured out, it would be it will be very easy to them because I know how they are. They are achievers, which means that they will be able to then hit all their KPIs and not only hit them, but over exceed them.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And again, I think it's really important to know your team well, know them well. If you need to have for your team, if you need to know what those strengths are, now obviously not everybody has taken that. That's one of my goals, is to make sure by the end of the year that all of your team members, not just you guys, have taken the Strengths Finder assessment. You can be ahead of the game and just get them going on it right now. We're going to do it. So if you say, "Huh, I've got 3 people on my team, but none of them have taken the Strengths Finders assessment," I need to do that. I need to have them do that. Please have them do it, and then get that information to me. But now you'll have the information to be able to say, "Yeah,
Mhm.
this is what their strengths are, and how can I help them achieve these things, and to use those talents and strengths to help us." So that's really good. So here's what I'd like to do. You've got some plans, you've got some opportunities here to really achieve some great things in the fourth quarter. Which what will doing great things in the fourth quarter do for us? What will it do for us? I know this is it's a leading question. There's a specific answer. Yeah, Shane.
It sets us up for the upcoming quarters. It's what we do now sets us up 3 months from now.
That's right. It's going to give us momentum into the new year. If you can focus really hard, if you can use all of these thinking things and start practicing and really, really have a good fourth quarter, it will give you momentum and blast you into the new year. If your fourth quarter is going to suck, then you're going to have a tougher time pushing it. So you have to think this is something I do for sales. I'm sure it works for, you know, lots of things, but I always tell salespeople what you do today will pay off in 3 to 6 months. It will explode your business what you do today. Okay. So we've got to think about what it is we do, what we're doing right now. So I would like you to take some time and develop these. Now, you may be already doing this. Your leaders or managers might be, you know, already asking these things of you. But what are your goals? I want you to share those with your manager. Okay? What is it you are going to achieve in this fourth quarter? Let's get that plan going, and how do we implement the plan? How do we execute it? Do you have it specific enough? Do you have it laid out well enough? Is your team involved in the discussion of that? Please, you know, have those plans, because if we don't plan, if we don't um, work on the, you know, how we're going to achieve these things, who we're going to achieve them with, what we're going to be doing, when we're going to be doing it, where we're going to be doing it, then it's probably not going to happen. So if you lay that out and give it to your manager, then that will give you some accountability to make those things happen. Does everybody feel like they can, you know, do that? Now, I know some of you are part of the retreat exec strategy meeting, and we've got some plans going right now. In fact, some stuff has to be turned in today, right, Belinda? Yeah. So we've got these ideas, but we just need everybody to kind of start working on this. Get with your team. Um, you know, the book that we read in the last management training, one of the books we read was It's the Manager. It's all about you helping your team. People do come to companies, or they leave companies because of the manager. And it's our responsibility to make that happen. So become the coach, get the plan, understand what that plan's going to look like. What's the game plan for fourth quarter? Okay, just like in a sporting, we're in fourth quarter. Are we going to win this? Fourth quarter. Fourth quarter. So
What you
so
used to
take
do on the sidelines, right?
that's right.
Put those fours up.
And that's right. So we've got a plan for success. We've got to give those plans to our managers. Let's let some others kind of help us, you know, with the design of that, and let's make it happen. Fourth quarter can be exciting. It's an exciting time. We can finish strong, and we can propel ourselves into the next year. We can go from ordinary to extraordinary very quickly. Okay? Ordinary to extraordinary very, very quickly. All right. So this was a little bit of a review. This was a little bit about thinking. Let me share one other thing before we end. I've got to find it. Here we go. Just so we have some ideas where we're headed. Okay. Can you all see that? Somebody say yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is the agenda. We're on lesson 3. We'll be going into lesson 4. Transformational habits will be the next one, and then we've got leadership versus management, and then transformational leadership. You know, so that kind of gives you an idea of where we're going, and I think that you know, it's really valuable. So let me tell you one last little story, and then we're going to end. We're going to end here. You all know that I'm a Disney fan. I love some of the great things that I've learned out of the movie Alice in Wonderland. Okay. In Alice in Wonderland, she's walking through this forest and she sees this tree with these signs pointing in all different directions. And while she's looking at the sign, there's something that appears to her. Do you remember what that was that
Cheshire
appeared?
cat.
Cheshire cat. And she asks a very interesting question. She says, which way should I go? And Cheshire, which road should I take? And the Cheshire cat said back to her, what?
It depends on where you want to go.
And she says, I'm not sure. And he says, then it doesn't really matter which road you take. So if you don't know where you want to go, it doesn't matter which road you take, you guys. So have a definite place you want to go so that we can get there and have a purpose behind doing it. So today, I hope that you write these plans. I hope you wrote these things down. Please, the questions we ask, I want you to make sure you have the answers to those. I know it seems silly sometimes, or like I don't want to really do this. If it does, it's probably not a good class for you. But you need to really look at yourself and say, yeah, I need to move forward. I need to help my team move forward, and we're going to accomplish great things because of it. Have a great weekend. We start the month during the weekend, the new month, fourth quarter starts. Let's just go and score touchdowns in fourth quarter and make it happen. Thanks for being on the call, you guys, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.